Years ago, I didn't do it at the same time, but as a pastor, over a period of 2 years, I ended up counseling with two women who were devoted mothers. They had one adolescent son each, that is, each one of them had one child and one adolescent son. They also had a remote husband, at least a husband who was remote, distant emotionally from both the wife, but also from the son. And in both cases, the sons were doing very badly in school. They were beginning to misbehave in a number of different ways. And both of the women were getting quite angry at both the husband and at their son. And I remember very clearly being a relatively naive young minister at the time. It was a long time ago. I counseled both of the women. I said, well, you got to at least start by forgiving the men in your life. Just forgive them. Your husband is being remote. He's being a jerk. Forgive him. Your son is being a fool. Forgive him. And then go work on the other things. Well, it was interesting to me that there was one woman who was a fairly new Christian believer. And there was another woman who had been in my church for many, many years. And the first woman, the new Christian believer, it was a struggle, but was able to actually forgive and get past the bitterness and anger. The second woman could not. Now, I'm saying this so I don't want anybody to think that once you become a professing Christian, you automatically, everything works out well. Because it became clear to me, in the case of the second woman, that she loved her son so much that her son was essentially her savior. Deep in her heart, she had made this decision. She said, if my son grows up okay, if my son is happy and he loves me, then I'll know my life is significant. Her son was her highest love. And as a result, because things were going wrong, and because he was getting alienated from her, and alienated from the father and all that, she began to become incredibly bitter against her husband, and also bitter at her son, because her son, in a sense, held her soul in his hand. The other woman dug deep and realized that now that I have a relationship with God, I've got to love God and know his love, and that has to be more important to me than the love of my son or my husband. And here's what's strange. Do you see what's happening here? Because she loved God more than her son, she began to love her son more. Whereas the other woman, because she loves her son more than God, began to hate her son. And St. Augustine is saying, only if you know God as your supreme love will you love anything else well.